राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारी। यमुना तीरवन चारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जयो राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे। जयो राधा गोविंद राधे Jayo Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Jayo Jayo Śrī Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Śrī Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Śrī Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Śrī Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, our dear More Srila Prabhupada, and all the Guru Vargas, may I speak few words in the glorification of our dear Lord Krishna and Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, for my own very purification and for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhaved viparite Vishmrite Viparitam Syat Śrī Caitanya Namamitam. Fall on me. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or the other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Adi 14.1. Hare Krishna. So we are reading Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and this is Madhya 8. This is the chapter name talks between the Lord and Ramananda Rai. As Maharaj, Keshav Maharaj was mentioning, this is very, very, very esoteric topics, way beyond my understanding and beyond, by, of course, my realization. But I will just read through that's my service, to read through the book. And as we move, and we'll see what's happening. So we'll start. We are here where Mahaprabhu sees Rai Ramananda, who comes in a palanquin along with a lot of brahmanas. And Ramananda Rai, here in this appearance, he is acting as a government official, and he is so-called Shudra, and Mahaprabhu is a Brahmana. And so they have a lot of difference in their order, social order. And yet Mahaprabhu, as soon as he knows that, Rai Ramananda has come, he wants to hug him. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Rai Ramananda is none other than Vishaka Sakhi. Of course, so Radharani's love for Vishaka Sakhi is so deep, it doesn't care about the social etiquette. But he's sitting and chanting by the bank of River Ganga, Mother Ganga. And Rai Ramananda comes and he pays obeisances because he's a son to a sannyasi. And then Mahaprabhu also hugs him, and they get fainted, and then they come back to their senses, and then the conversation, we are there. Let me just go back. We are in text 37. I'll read the Bengali. And if you feel like, please stop me and you can read along. তোমারও কৃপায় তোমার করায় নিন্দ কর্ম সাক্ষাৎ ঈশ্বর তুমি কে জানে তোমার মর্ম. You want to read, Prabhu? From verse, you want to read the verse? Anybody else? Okay. So we usually don't do word to word, but Tomar kripaয়, your mercy, Tomai, unto you, Korai, induces, Nindaya karma, forbidden actions, Shakshat Ishwar, directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tumi, you, ke jane, who can know, Tomar, your mormo, purpose. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Therefore, no one can understand your purpose. By your mercy, you are touching me, although this is not sanctioned by the Vedas. So this is Rai Ramananda speaking, because he is a Shudra. Sorry to say that again and again, but I'm just going by whatever is the reference. So he's comparatively a lower caste than, of course, sannyasi. And sannyasi is hugging him. He's feeling very low of himself, and he's thinking, you're Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even if it's forbidden in the Veda to, hug or embrace a lower caste, lower born, you're still doing, because you are Ishwar. You are the Personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ninda karma, if you see in the verse, it says Ninda karma, something that is nindaniya, that is something that people will criticize. If you do this, you will fall from your order. We have seen throughout, and we will see in the future, that how Mahaprabhu has maintained a very, very strict attitude towards sannyasi. And he would not sleep on the bed that's given by Jagannananda Pandit, and they will fight because they were also friends. And he will get upset when he cooks too much of, opulent prasadam. Also in Jagannath Puri, we saw this time that, there's a place where Jagannananda Pandit had offered sandalwood oil. And he had took so much of pain to make this oil. He rubbed the sandalwood with his hand, and he took out the pulp and then the oil. I don't know how the process goes, but it was very, very too much of hard work. And he had done it all out of love. And imagine you cook for somebody with so much of love, or any service you do, and they reject it. It hurts so much. So it hurt Jagadananda Pandit. And then Mahaprabhu is saying, what do you think? He was not saying it directly to Jagadananda Pandit. He said it to his servant, Govinda, that, what do you think I am? I'm here to have sense gratification. A sannyasi is supposed to be so strict, and you're giving me this oil and all. Now I should have, I should have somebody to massage me also, not only the oil. And then after insisting a few times, Jagadananda Pandit, he insisted Govinda. And then Govinda says, not happening. He got so furious that he will break the entire pot of that. Because Mahaprabhu would say, why don't you give it to the temple, Jagannath temple, and that way Jagannath, it will be used for Jagannathji's oil, so the Jagannathji's lamp. And he said, no, I did not bring any oil for you. I don't have to give anywhere anything. And who said this pot? And he will just break it off like that, right in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Maharaj, the Pujari, who was telling us, he was narrating this pastime, and he was saying, who can dare? This beautiful, very sweet and beautiful Bengali and Oriya language. He was saying, who can dare to break a pot in front of the Lord? Who dare to do it? Because he is Satyabhama. Because Jagadananda Pandit is Satyabhama, he could dare to do it. So we see how strict Mahaprabhu was. How very, very, very strict. And then he is hugging here and, breaking the principle of the Vedas, that, what you're not supposed to do. But because he is Shakshat Brajendra Nandan, he is the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he's doing things. And so Ramananda Rai is glorifying him. Purport. A sannyasi is strictly forbidden to see the Vishayis, the materialistic people. But Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his boundless and causeless mercy, could show favor to anyone, regardless of birth and position. I just wanted to share one thing for not long time. It's been a month now. I tend to read faster, and the purport I read even first faster because it's longer usually. So one day Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu was telling me, as beautiful the Caitanya-caritāmṛta is, so are the purports, because these are ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada. So please go slow, read it like a poetry as you do. You do wonderful with the Bengali, but you should read very nicely the English also. So why I'm sharing this, when we read at home or we read with somebody else, just keep that in mind, that we read through the purport very slowly, beautifully, as poetically as possible. Not maybe singing, but churning it and absorbing it as much possible. Next one. Amanistārite tomari agomon, poromo dayalu tumi potito pavon. You have come here specifically to deliver me. You are so merciful that you alone can deliver all fallen souls. Purport. Sri Narottam Das Thakur sings in his Prarthana 39. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu daya karo more, toma bina ke dayalu jagato samsare. Potita pavano hetu tabo avatar, mosama patita Prabhu na paibe ar. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me. Who can be more merciful than your Lordship? Within these three worlds, you appear as an incarnation just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls. But I assure you that you will not find a soul more fallen than me. Just a quick note, this morning I was hearing a Srimad Bhagavatam class, and in that Prabhu was saying a beautiful point. He said many beautiful points, but the one that my attention went to was, he said we are conditioned because our limit to love somebody is very conditioned. We can love only so many people. We cannot love everybody unlimitedly. So that is one of the reasons he said why we are conditioned and not unconditioned like Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's specific mission is to deliver fallen souls. Of course, in this age of Kali, there is hardly anyone who is not fallen according to the calculations of Vedic behavior. In his instructions to Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the so-called followers of Vedic religion in this way, Madhya 19:146. Vedanishta madhya adhi ardhika veda mukhe mane veda nishidhiya papa kore dharmo nahi gane. So-called followers of Vedic principles simply accept the Vedas formally, but they act against Vedic principles. This is symptomatic of this age of Kali. People claim to follow a certain type of religion, saying formally, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm this or that. But actually, no one follows the principles enunciated in religious scriptures. This is the disease of this age. Therefore, the merciful Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has simply advised us to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. The Lord can deliver anyone and everyone, even though one may have fallen from the injunctions of revealed scriptures. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special mercy. Consequently, he is known as Patita Pavana, the deliverer of all fallen souls. Text 39. Mahanto Shobhavo ei tori তারিতে পামর নিজ কার্য নাহি তবু জানো তারো ঘর. It is the general practice of all saintly people to deliver the fallen. Therefore, they go to people's house, although they have no personal business there. Purport. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door. He does not beg simply because he is hungry. His real purpose is to enlighten the occupant of every house by preaching Krishna consciousness. A sannyasi does not abandon his superior position and become a beggar just for the sake of begging. Similarly, a person in householder life may be very important, but he may also voluntarily take to the mendicant way of life. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were ministers, but they voluntarily accepted the mendicant's life in order to humbly preach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. Before we move further, just one point Prabhupada also mentions in, as I always keep repeating it, Prabhupada, you read Caitanya-caritāmṛta, you read Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, you hear him or, you read him, whatever it is same. And Prabhupada, he mentions in his one of the lecture earlier, I have heard that if one follows it for 12 years, this morning program, whatever he speaks, his speech will become truth. And he mentions it regarding Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And we see that in Srila Prabhupada also. Whatever he speaks, you will not find him saying something here. And of course, when he gives answer to his particular disciple, it is according to where they are. That may vary. But the principle, the main message remains always the same. And if you read about Sukadev Goswami's description, how Sukadev Goswami goes from house to house, and it says that he does not stay in a place longer than it takes to milk a cow. And he said the sannyasis, they don't go to householders or materialistic people house to beg, but to give. Not to take, but to give knowledge, to enlighten them. And that's where the Grihamedi is explained, how Grihamedi's center of life is themselves and only sense gratification. But such Mahatmas, they go and enlighten. And if we see Chitraketu Maharaj's story, Amrish Maharaj, you see this all wonderful emperors, the king, Yudhishthir Maharaj, when such saintly person comes, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he meets, when Narad Muni comes, and then Chitraketu Maharaj, when Angira? Was it Angira? He comes, anyway, the saintly person comes, the ritual was you give your throne to them. So you, as a Kshatriya, you offer your everything. That's your throne, your singhasan. You give that to the saintly person and you say it's yours. And then, because what will the Brahmana do? He gives it back. He said, okay, it is mine. You take care of it on my behalf. So the king is not attached to the asan or the simhasan or the throne. So we see this culture, and that's what, and in going ahead, we'll see even Pratap Rudra. He was ready to do anything. Anything means even to give his life for having a darshan with, having an audience with just to have an audience with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we see how important, as Brahmanas are referred to, the saintly people are referred to the head of the society, and Prabhupada said we have become a headless society because there are no two Brahmanas. So how important it is. So it was never recommended that a businessman takes advice from a businessman. A businessman will take advice from the Brahmanas and the learned one, the knowledgeable one, so that they know exactly what to do, because ultimately it is, one is Ante Narayana Smriti, that end of it, whoever is dying, they should remember Krishna and go back to Godhead. Excuse me. And also everything is for Haritoshanam. Whichever ashram, whichever varna you are, wherever you are, but whatever we do, we should do it for the Hari's, Krishna's pleasure. So these two things, right? So one householder personality may forget it, that what are we meant, why are we working so hard? So such a time, the saintly person comes and reminds him, hey, you are doing everything, wonderful, but do not forget Krishna, do not forget Hari, do not forget Narayan, and work for him. So Prabhupada mentions there how Sukadev Goswami would go door to door and would not stay in the purport of the first canto, one of the verses. We continue. It is said about them, okay, we'll go back a little bit. Okay, we are talking about Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, right? It is said about them, Tyaktva turnamashesha mandalapati shrenim sadatu chavat bhutva dina ganesha kau karunaya kopina kantha shratau. Although the Goswamis were very aristocratic, on the order of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they became mendicants just to deliver the fallen souls. One should also consider that those who engage in the missionary activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are under the guidance of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll repeat this point for our benefit. One should also consider that those who engage in the missionary activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are under the guidance of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They are not actually beggars. Their real business is to deliver fallen souls. Therefore, they may go from door to door just to introduce a book about Krishna consciousness, so that people can become enlightened by reading. Formerly, brahmacharis and sannyasis used to beg from door to door. At the present moment, especially in the Western countries, a person may be handed over to the police if he begs from door to door. In Western countries, begging is considered criminal. Members of the Krishna consciousness movement have no business begging. Instead, they work very hard to introduce some literature about Krishna consciousness so that people can read them and be benefited. But if one gives some contribution to a Krishna conscious man, he never refuses it. So Prabhupada is redefining for us once again that what is the role of a brahmachari, a sannyasi, even a grihastha or any Krishna conscious devotee, that we all are under the purview of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. We are under the guidance of Mahaprabhu, and we should act accordingly. And in one of the, though I feel very guilty because I am not there, but I would just repeat whatever is Prabhupada saying, that one of the recent quotes that was shared in one of the Prabhupada's group, that, our purity can enlighten others. So the more strictly, more authentically we follow this path, the more others will be benefited, the more others will be getting impacted by our presence. Just saying is not enough we have to also practice. We have to practice what we preach. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachand. And then Prabhupada is saying our job is not just to beg, our job is to give some literature. Our job is to actually enlighten others, the materialistic people, enlighten others about the Krishna conscious movement, about Krishna. And if somebody, we don't beg, but if somebody gives any contribution, we accept it and use it for Krishna. Mahad vichalanam nrinam grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya Bhagavan nanyatha kalpate kvachit. My dear Lord, sometimes great saintly persons go to the homes of householders, although these householders are generally low-minded. When a saintly person visits their home, one can understand that it is for no other purpose than to benefit the householders. So even if somebody in a low position, they may not understand anything, but they do understand that this person has come to our house for our own benefit. And then we see many leelas of Srila Prabhupada where he will go house to house and give mercy. Mercy to what extent? We hear this story, right? Where Mataji was, I think, other day referring to about the onion story where, I don't know, you were referring it? I don't know, I heard it recently also, and it is there in Prabhupada memories too, that, somebody would cook, they will invite regular, householder, and they wouldn't know that the devotees are not, they don't take onion and garlic, and they cooked with onion garlic, and this one of the disciple will come to Srila Prabhupada and say, Prabhupada, there is onion in the sabji, but there is onion in the sabji, and Prabhupada says, keep quiet and eat it. Why did you not inform them before? So he's so merciful. He's taking it, the burden of eating the onion on themselves, like how strict we are supposed to be when we take our vow. It is included in our vow in front of Guru Maharaj, in front of the deities, in front of fire. We say, okay, no onion, garlic, no non-vegetarian food from today means no onion, garlic as well. But still, Prabhupada goes and takes. Why? So that, is Prabhupada greedy of eating onion? Is he missing onion? Because Prabhupada never took anything which cannot be offered to Krishna. No, but he takes that pain of taking that thing that is cannot be offered to Krishna, so that this person can be offered to Krishna in future, so that this person can love Krishna. This person can be attached to Krishna by being attached to this wonderful saintly person, Srila Prabhupada. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.4. Text 41. Amar sange brahmanadi sahasreka jan tomaro darshane shabar drabbo bhutamon. Along with me there are about 1,000 men, including the Brahmanas, and all of them appear to have had their hearts melted simply by seeing you. So, as I was mentioning, that with Mahaprabhu there were many other, with Ramananda Rai there are many other people, and many of them are Brahmanas, and they accompanied Ramananda Rai. It was a ritual. He used to come and take bath, and on a palanquin, and then there will be many other people, and many of them were Brahmanas. And as soon as they saw Mahaprabhu, their hearts were melted. 42. Krishna Krishna namo shuni shabaro badane shabaro ango pulokito ashrunayane. Krishna Krishna nam shuni. I hear only Krishna Krishna nam. Bodhane. This word bodhane also comes to a very, very important verse from Chaitanya Bhagavat by Haridas Thakur, when he was beaten in 22 marketplaces. And then they were requesting him that, please die, so that we don't have to hurt you so much, and we will be punished if you don't die. Please. And then the Qazi would also say, don't chant anymore, don't chant Hare Krishna. I always think of this verse and I think, okay, for me I have to remind myself, okay, I have to chant my 16 round. But for Haridas Thakur, he could not stop chanting. And if I remember the verse, it goes something like, খণ্ড খণ্ড হয় দেহ যায় যদি প্রাণ Tobu to bodone ami nachari horinam. I butchered it towards the end. It's mainly, it says that khanda khanda, even if my body is, cut into pieces, many pieces, even then I will not give up chanting the names of Hari. Tobu ami bodone na chari horinam. Tobu ami bodone means I myself. The same word is there in bodone here. And the translation goes the Nam, the holy name here, bodone is in the mouth. Like with my mouth, I will not stop chanting. Like no matter what you do to me, I will not stop chanting. And then here, Mahaprabhu is being told that by Ramananda Rai, that I hear, Ramananda Rai is saying, I hear everyone chanting the holy name of Krishna. Everyone's body is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. Please repeat this verse. Krishna Krishna Nama Shuni Shabaro Bodone. Shabaro Ango Pulokita Ashrunoyone. I'll repeat the purport translation again. I hear everyone chanting the holy name of Krishna. Everyone's body is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. That's what happened if one takes the holy name with offenselessly, with complete purity. Akrite prakrite amari tomar ishwar lakhon jibe na shambhabe ei aprakrito gun. My dear sir, according to your behavior and bodily features, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is impossible for ordinary living beings to possess such transcendental qualities. Purport. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's bodily features were uncommon. Indeed, his body was extraordinary in its measurements. The measurements of his chest and the measurement of his forearms were the same. This is called Nyagrodha Parimandala. Did I read it right? Nyagrodha Parimandala. Okay. As far as his nature is concerned, he was kind to everyone. No one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be kind to everyone. Something similar to what I was referring, right? Like nobody, we were conditioned, and Lord is unconditioned because our love is conditioned. So nobody can be kind to everybody. Everybody means even the ant. No one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be kind to everyone. Therefore, the Lord's name is Krishna, all attractive. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Krishna is the kind father of everyone in every species of life. Sarva Yonishu, he is the original father, the seed giver, Bija Prada Pita. How then can he be unkind to any living entity? One may be a man, an animal, or even a tree, but the Lord is kind to everyone. That is God's qualification. He also says in the Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. I am equally kind to everyone. And he advises Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Give up all other engagements and simply surrender unto me. This instruction is meant not only for Arjuna, but for all living entities. Whoever takes advantage of this offer is immediately immune to all sinful activity and returns home back to Godhead. While present on this planet, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu made the same offer. So Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita here and saying how he quoted that how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Krishna is the father of all living entity, whether it's an ant or a human being or the demigod, but he is the father of all living entity. So basically, and stressing upon the point on being kind, how only Lord can be kind to everyone. We should always remember, like I sometimes feel guilty. I was asking other day, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, he was saying we should be happy seeing all the devotees serving nicely. We should not feel on envy, he was talking. And I asked him, when I don't feel envious seeing other devotees serving Shri Radha Kalachandji, but I was saying our deities. But when somebody who's very dear to me and I see him or her serve, I feel more happy. My happiness, I become so excited and happy, too excited. And is it bad? And he said, no, it's okay. We cannot love everybody, right? So we cannot be kind to everyone. We cannot love everybody unlimitedly. We should not be envious is the main point. You should not feel that, okay, why is this devotee serving and not me or something like that. You should not have hatred towards anybody, non-envious to everybody. But it's okay to, have this particular kind of relation with fewer devotees. But who can have unlimited love for unlimited jivas? It's the Lord. Prabhu kahe tumi maha bhagavat uttama, tomaro darshane drabya, tomaro darshane shobar drabya hoilo mana. The Lord replied to Ramananda Rai, sir, you are the best of the topmost devotees. Therefore, simply by the sight of you has melted everyone's heart. So Ramananda Rai is saying, you are such a wonderful personality that just seeing you, everybody is saying, Krishna, Krishna, and their hearts are being melted. But now Mahaprabhu, the Lord himself is saying, no, it's not me. It's you, because you are Bhagavat Uttama. You are the best of the devotees. You are the purest of the devotees. And that's why because of you, their heart is being melted and they are becoming so softened. Purport. Unless one is first-class devotee, unless one is a first-class devotee, he cannot be a preacher. A preacher is generally a topmost devotee. But in order to meet the general populace, he has to come to distinguish between devotees and non-devotees. When I was reading this last class, I think Mataji was asking something, why they are non-devotees, why we are distinguishing. This purport actually has a lot of explanation for why Prabhupada is, writing non-devotees. I'll repeat that line again. But in order to meet the general populace, a preacher that is, has to come to distinguish between the devotees and non-devotees. Otherwise, an advanced devotee makes no such distinctions. Indeed, he always sees that everyone is engaged in the service of the Lord. When one engages in preaching work, he must distinguish between the people and understand that some people are not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. The preacher then has to take compassion upon such innocent people who do not know how to worship the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:2-45, the symptoms of a topmost devotee are described as follows. Sarva bhuteshu ya pashyad bhagavad bhavam atmana bhutani bhagavati atmani esha bhagavata uttamam. The advanced devotee sees that all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is in Krishna, and Krishna is also within everyone. Such a vision is possible only for a person who is very advanced in devotional service. So we are talking about preacher. Prabhupada is talking about preacher. In Nectar of Devotion, also it is mentioned who is a Kanishta, who is a Madhyama, who is a Uttama, who is the low, topmost to the bottommost. And it says that Prabhupada says for preaching purpose, a Uttama will come down to the stature of a Madhyama so that he can distinguish. If he sees like Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, I think he would not criticize anybody and he do not hear anybody's criticism. And to him, he thinks everybody is devotee. Whom do I make a devotee? I'm the one who is not devotee. So I should focus and I should become a devotee first. And then I will see. But in a preaching movement like ours, Krishna consciousness movement, which is a preaching movement, Prabhupada says you learn 2 lines, you teach 2 lines. Again, you learn few more and you preach. That is our movement. We don't have hundreds of life, millions of years to live, that you first become perfected and then you go preach. Prabhupada taught us, whatever you know, without any duplicity, just go and preach it. As I am telling, you go and preach. That's why our movement is as it is. As it's coming through the disciplic succession, we just forward it like a postman. So Prabhupada is saying that, so it's been told by Prabhupada that Uttama also comes down to the position of Madhyama, because Madhyama Adhikari's job is, the middle level preacher's job is to distinguish who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee. It is not to minimize the position of a non-devotee. It is just that they are not aware of their service, that they are also servants of Krishna. It is just reminding them, if somebody is lost on the road, you just tap them and say, hey, I can take you to your parents. It's nothing wrong. And then he belongs to the parents. That time he might appear as a beggar, but as soon as he is connected with his parents, he's no longer beggar again, right? No more he's a beggar. He's gone back to his parent. He's no longer an orphan, rather. So it's nothing wrong saying them a non-devotee. It is not to demean or minimize their position. It is just that we have to distinguish. A preacher has to distinguish between the two so that he can help, so that he can show his compassion upon him. So it's 8:31. I will pause here. If there is any question, any correction, we can go ahead. And before that, I want you all to chant with me this beautiful verse from Antelila 12.1. Shruyatam shruyatam nityam giyatam giyatam muda chintatam chintatam bhaktas Caitanya-caritāmṛtam. O devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted, and meditated upon with great happiness. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Yes, please go ahead and correct. Anything, Prabhu? You want the mic? Just wait for a moment. No, but people cannot hear you. That's what. Yeah. You know how to operate it? Maybe I will try to summarize. I'm not so good in summarizing.
Thank you. So when you spoke about Srila,
I think you have to put the hand in a particular. Yeah.
very good. So you spoke about Srila Prabhupada's pastime, wherein he showed the compassion during preaching. There was onion included in the food. So I remember one time there is South Mumbai, which is considered to be one of the posh localities in Mumbai, and there are so many elite people, rich and aristocratic people living there. So we had been invited for one program, and His Holiness Radhanath Swami and few temple residents had accompanied him. And I distinctly remember we were sitting for prasadam and there was onion in it. And one devotee looked up and Maharaj, his face became so grave and he said, just eat it. So this is pretty much in alignment with what Srila Prabhupada showed. I never heard about Srila Prabhupada's pastime, but thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
So I could relate that, how in parampara, it's the same principle, right? So for higher principle, lower principles can be compromised. And in this particular situation, the higher principle is preaching. So that was one point. And the other point, you mentioned in the class, about envy, becoming happy, seeing other devotees, and sometimes we are envious. I can talk about myself, right? That's because I remember Gauranga Prabhu had mentioned this, such a wonderful point, it struck my heart. Said, the criteria for us to judge anyone, sometimes we have preconceived notions, somebody behaves in a certain manner, particular manner, and we stamp that person to be this and that, right? So he said, usually somebody says something to us and we don't like it. Somebody behaves in such a way that we don't feel so good about it. So we stamp that person to be good or bad. But actually, acharyas, they teach us that we have to train our consciousness to look upon the devotees, other devotees, relation with Krishna. What is their service? What service they are doing, and what is their consciousness? What is their relationship with Krishna? So if we focus on that particular aspect, then we will stop, how do you say, increasing that particular conditioning of stamping anyone to be bad or.
Yeah, to that note, this morning, Sukumar Gaur Prabhu from Chopati Temple, Brahmachari Sukumar. Yeah, you don't remember. So he was mentioning that when we are envious of some devotee, we are actually not envious of that person. I don't remember whether he said exactly devotee or in general, being envious. We are actually envious of Krishna. If you go deep into it, if you meditate upon it, we are not envious of that devotee, we are envious of Krishna. So that is the anyway root cause of we coming back to this material world, or, So he was on similar line, he was mentioning the same, yeah. You have any question, Prabhu? You? Yeah.
So, what do we do in that case when we are envious of Krishna? How do we get rid of that?
Recently, last at least 2 years or so, whenever I ask any question of that sort, all I hear is pray. Pray, Mataji. So I'll say, pray, Prabhuji. Pray to Krishna. But especially if we pray to Srimati Radharani, our Radharani is very, very, very merciful. Very merciful. You just say, I'm just sharing mine. I say, I don't like myself being like that. Please don't. And when you hear about wonderful devotees like Srila Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, I always feel that I want to be like that. And but Prabhupada also said that first deserve and then demand, or then desire. First you, what is it? First deserve and then desire. Yeah. So first you become, work for it. It's not that just you say and then I say that I don't want to do Vaishnava Ninda, and then you continuously engage in it. So it's the action and the desire is not matching. You also have to work hard, and we also have to pray, because end of it, it is Krishna's mercy. It is their mercy that we become what we become. If we came to Krishna consciousness also, it is their mercy. Without them, we couldn't have come here. So if we want to reach somewhere, it will be their mercy, but our endeavor is needed too. Like the Damodar month is going on, like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, two hand, it was just 2 inch short, 2 finger short, that rope that was going around Krishna's belly. And they say 1 inch is Mother Yashoda's endeavor to tie him, and the other was Krishna's mercy to let her tie him. So it is our endeavor and his mercy. Does it make sense? Philosophical, not practical? Make sense? Thank you. So if there is nothing, we'll pause here. Please forgive me for the mistakes that I have committed. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patita naam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo nama ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki, Damodar Mas ki. Jai.